There is nothing worse than a whitewashed black girl realizing all the racism in the world.
Pretty mind, pretty grind, yeah, I said what I said. Manifesting better things while we lay edges to bed.
Hey guys, welcome to the Pretty Mind channel where we talk beauty, mindset, and everything in between. If you enjoy real talk, you're in the right place. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe if you're feeling generous. So today's topic is what Black women go through, whether it's at work or in relationships.
There is nothing worse than a whitewashed black girl realizing all the racism in the world who's also in a friend group with barely any other black women. There is this no worse feeling, because when it hits you hard. And every weird little interaction that you just justified as being rude, turning out to be racism, makes you question your whole existence.
In law school, a student called me a monkey in front of his non-black friends. He thought it was just a silly little joke, and I just found it dehumanizing and embarrassing. Another time during a friendly rap battle with the same student, they said my skin was black as tar. Once again, they thought it was a silly little joke, and I just found it dehumanizing and embarrassing. To be a woman who is black and dark-skinned, fully Afrocentric features, there is nothing ambiguous about the way I present, opens you up to just sheer, unwarranted, and unnecessary, turbulent violence simply because of the way that I look. There's been a lot of discourse around larger black creators on this platform. Anika She being one of them, who made, in my opinion, a silly little video about her experience at some restaurant which didn't come off as anything other than just, I'm just talking, I'm just yapping. That video spiraled out into discourse of so many people making think pieces, making her out to be someone who disrespects service workers, just calling out her character when the video was anything but that. But Anika is dark-skinned, so people associate her video, which should have just been taken in jest, as angry and aggressive, and people sought to punish her. Gloria, who is another huge beauty creator who fights day in and day out to make sure that these brands do the bare minimum by including shade ranges that would work for all deep and dark skin tone types. She made a video about a blush that would not even work on a white person with a tan. She made a video about that blush, and her comments were disgusting, violent, and dehumanizing, simply because she had the courage to call out a huge beauty brand for false inclusivity. And I know y'all remember lip gloss. I don't even have to go into what people were doing to her. The point of what I'm trying to say is dark-skinned black women are made to be the villain in every situation before we even open our mouths. People have to jump through hoops, little mental gymnastics, to try and reason and validate why the thought processes that they have regarding dark-skinned black women are valid. Even when we are the victims, we have to fight for our own humanity. It's exhausting. It's exhausting. What is it about a dark-skinned black woman that makes you dedicated to misunderstanding, misrepresenting, and misconstruing everything that she might stand for? Catch it. Now I'm hungry, so I'm gonna end this with a thank you. Thank you to Anika, thank you to Gloria, thank you to myself. Thank you to every single dark-skinned black woman who shows up day in and day out on this app, on the internet in general, despite knowing that they will be attacked, they will be hated, they will be dehumanized, unprovoked, for no reason. And thank you to all the dark-skinned black women who tried their best, who continue to fight but had to bow out for their own mental health. You are appreciated just the same. Food. Please go do some introspection and leave dark-skinned black women alone.
Can anyone relate to this? But I feel like the older I get, the blacker I get. Like, obviously, I was born black AF. I'm a black woman. I have always been a black woman. But I think growing up in white spaces, I spent so many of my formative years trying to fit in and trying to be like my white counterparts, hating certain parts of myself, wanting to change things about myself. But as you get older, you blossom and you just sink and lean into your blackness. Like, you want to be in black spaces, surrounded by beautiful black people, dating black men. Like, you just thrive in your blackness and you stop trying to fit in and you stop trying to assimilate. I just think it's such a beautiful evolution to finally just be comfortable being yourself and just being black as fuck. Like, ugh, I just love it for us.
Being a dark-skinned woman means that the whole world is trying to humble you for some reason. I don't know what we did to get so much smoke from the world, so much attacks, and so many people just like up in arms. But God forbid you are a dark-skinned woman who is attractive, your face is card is facing, your body eats, your skin is clear, is smooth. People from all walks of life will try to humble you, both online and both in real life. They will humble you at your job, they will humble you within friendships, they will try and humble you within relationships. And I think it's important to recognize that as well, and also know how to navigate and operate in that. And, you know, like, I think it just stems from people's perceptions of dark-skinned black women and the representation that dark-skinned black women have had throughout history, maybe in the media. There is not a lot of positive representation of dark-skinned black women. There's also not diverse representation in terms of the fact that we're not all the same. We don't all speak the same way. We don't all come from the same place. We don't even all look the same. We all have very different features. And I think people, for some reason, fail to contextualize that and actually just think critically. And so if they meet a dark-skinned black woman who just doesn't fit this stereotype that they have in their head, whether that, I'm not even saying looks-wise, but also personality-wise, it irritates them. I mean, that's why you see examples of, if you look at Love Island, for example, I don't even watch Love Island, so correct me if I'm wrong, but I know with Alandria, I know with Shelley, people were, for some reason, irritated that they were not shouting, or they were not fully extroverted and loud, and wanted to paint them as being fake somehow because they're not showing their true selves. And I've dealt with situations like this also in my life, where people almost get angry at me for being a calm, relaxed person because they don't expect that. Maybe in parts of me being a black woman and then me being a dark-skinned black woman on top of that, they expect me to be rude, abrasive, loud. And like, that is just not my personality. And I'm not saying that, like, I'm not saying whether that's a good or a bad thing. I'm just saying that every dark-skinned black woman is different. And God forbid you have a nice face and you're attractive and you have a nice body, then it's actually double, triple, quadruple homicide for you, because people try to humble you in all walks of life. There's been so many times that people will compliment me, but it's the compliments in a weird way where they will try to compliment me without complimenting me. Like, there's so many examples of people who say, oh my God, I love your hair. Oh my God, I love your clothes. Just say I'm pretty. I don't understand. Just say I'm good looking. Just say I'm beautiful. I think it's also a thing where it's like, it actually pains people just to come out and say you're actually good looking, you're attractive, because it doesn't match up with the image that they have in their head of what you should be and how you should look and how you should act and how you should behave. And that triggers them. And God forbid that they have a image of themselves as someone who fares better in this society or is on the top of the totem pole when it comes to looks, stereotypically. And they can't fathom the fact that you could potentially be more attractive than them, or you could potentially be more likable than them, God forbid. And I think it threatens their sense of self. So it's literally, it's a thing. It is honestly a thing. And people will gaslight in the comments and say, oh my God, it doesn't exist. It doesn't happen. Trust me, it does. I think there's a different set of challenges you have to navigate as a dark-skinned black woman. If you're an attractive dark-skinned black woman, it's a different experience that I don't actually think can be explained unless you're living through it. But I just wanted to say that. Drop your thoughts in the comments.
As a black woman, I have two strikes against me: being black and being a woman. Therefore, my life is harder than people that are neither. I am going to use the one privilege that I have, being attractive, to the max. And when I say this, a lot of people are like, oh, you know, you have good genes or whatever. Listen, I worked to look like this. I put in effort. I've been in the gym. I'm 31 years old. I be in the gym all the time. I eat clean. I drink water. I take care of my skin. You know, I get my teeth looked at, worked on, whitened. When I had braces, even before I had braces, I was whitening my teeth. My teeth were crooked and I was whitening them. I prioritized my looks because I realized that people see you they perceive you, and they treat you accordingly. It doesn't matter how much money you have in your account, because no one's going to see that. It doesn't matter how accomplished you are. You do not walk around with degrees on your back. People see you head to toe, your weight, your skin, your teeth, your smile, your style, your nails, and they put you in a category off rip. Now, if you are a woman, especially a Black woman, your life will change when you prioritize how you look. When you work on your insecurities, you either work on them, change them, or you accept them. But you can still accept the fact that you're not comfortable with a certain part of your body and accessorize that. Work on that, change that, whatever it is. You can be a plus size woman, not be the most comfortable or happy about the weight. Maybe you put on the weight because you're sad or depressed, but you know what? You rock the shit out of it. You dress it up. You wear the colors that make your skin pop. You say, let me put on this belt. I'm gonna accentuate this waist. Okay, I'm gonna wear this bag. It's gonna make me look good. I'm gonna buy these shades. I'm gonna learn how to do my makeup. And that's another thing. I taught myself how to do makeup, and I can beat a face to oblivion. And I cannot tell you the amount of time and effort I have saved. I've saved money, been able to dress up on a whim on vacation, going to weddings, going to events, because I've taken the time to learn how to invest in myself and my makeup and my looks. As a woman, now, a lot of people don't want to hear this and they want to fight it, but it is what it is. As a woman, people are going to hold you to a different standard with how you look, especially as a Black woman. I can't work a job and go roll out of bed and not have my hair done and go to work. People are going to be like, what's going on with you? I cannot afford to not invest in myself because I understand the psychology of people and how they react to you when you put more effort into how you look versus you don't. There's a lot of people out here with beautiful personalities. I love y'all. But people do not see your personality when you open your mouth. They don't. They see that in time, but initially they do not. So call it what it is. Yes, I'm vain and I'm proud. Yes, my aesthetics mean a lot to me. Yes, I'm constantly asking ChatGPT what I need to do to level up, okay? Physically, with my skincare, with my makeup, whatever. I'm trying different styles of lashes. I'm figuring out my brows. I'm figuring out this skin because I got hormonal acne, whatever. And the results are worth it, in my opinion. And when y'all fight against these societal norms, it's not benefiting you. Because a lot of times you're deciding to not put yourself first. You're deciding to go another day without working on that part of yourself you know is bothering you. And I'm by no means saying that you need to go under a knife or you need to risk your life to look or feel better. But there are countless ways that you can make incremental changes to feel good in your own skin. And ultimately, that is the goal.
So when I met you, I really thought for the first time ever, wow, I didn't know Black girls could be pretty like that. I didn't know that Black girls could be that pretty. So really, I was astounded. It took me back, and
that's sweet.
Being dark is not a problem. Why? Because so many other men want you. They made you think it was a problem. It's not a problem. Just because Tyrone and Jaheim don't want you, that doesn't mean Rick and Todd and Chad don't. And they got more money. What are you doing? It's not really a problem. It's just something that someone told you was a problem, but it wasn't even a problem. If you believe that stereotype, you're only making it stronger. That's why I keep telling y'all, stop looking at it as a problem and see what you can do. If you need to level up enough to get Rick and Todd, that's what you need to do. You can't sit there and be ratchet and expect Dusties to come after you. Dusties are trained and they're brainwashed. So please go get you some of them. They really want to experience. They're marrying, dating, they're having children now. If that's what you think is holding you back, why would you want someone that doesn't want you anyway? Looking good has absolutely nothing to do with skin color. I'm dark skinned, honey, and I pull all races. Yes, that's true.
I don't care what anybody say. Black women will forever be my standard of beauty. That's my standard because black women are the blueprint. Y'all try to degrade and talk so much shit, how they so masculine, how they so ghetto, how they so this, how they so ugly, blah, 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 blah. But you see how everyone else is trying to get surgery to look exactly like black women. Like, black women will forever be my standard. I'm sorry. Like, that's the standard of beauty for me. Like that's what I like. I'm sorry. Like, those are the baddies. Like, everyone is beautiful, but black women just hit different. That's my standard of beauty. Whenever I think of beauty in human form, I think of a black woman. Like, God can drop in front of me right now. I would see a dark-skinned black woman. I'm sorry.
So we're not done talking about how hyperfemininity is a weapon for black women. Props to our entry point for this discussion, Dionne Davenport from the 1995 movie Clueless. She is a style icon, and the construction of her character and her costuming is not only just entertaining fun, but a blow to white supremacist images of black femininity. Now, when I put on my clothes, it's because it's fun. Not everything I do is a reaction to racism and sexism. I am a human woman who just likes nice things. But I am a lover of history, political science, and media, and I am aware that what I put on in this context and how I construct myself is a privilege that is pretty recent. And no matter how you feel about it, clothes and styles are inherently political because they exist in a political context. I will never forget being at the beach in Florida one time, and it was raining and shockingly hailing. We were with a big group, and our family friends had their triplets with them who had been adopted around the same time. One was African American, the other one was African and European American, and the other one was European American. Now, they were freezing and shivering and trying not to cry as we were waiting for the car to pull up. And this European American couple walks up to us, and they see all three of them sitting in a row right next to each other. And the wife pulls out an extra towel, wraps it around my white cousin, warms him up and goes, "Oh, you poor child, like you're so cold. Here, you can have the towel." And then they walk off. She completely ignored the other two 4-year-olds shivering and visibly uncomfortable next to him. The only thing we could take from that interaction was that the pain and discomfort of the other two kids was invisible to her. I want you to hold that story in your head as we go through this. We have been talking about how Dionne's self-presentation as a hyperfeminine woman is subversive. Now, someone pointed out I never defined what hyperfemininity is. For those of you who don't know, it's defined as an extreme or excessive performance of femininity or an exaggerated adherence to stereotypical feminine behavior. Now, some people got a little salty and confused as to why I was particularly focusing on black hyperfemininity. And this is where I remind you that in an American cultural context, black women are often or almost always starting with a presumed negative amount of femininity. In this society, Asian and white women start with a certain amount of femininity already inherent to them in the cultural mind. They are socially presumed as feminine just simply for existing. Is that their fault? No. I never said that that's their fault. And in fact, that presumed femininity can actually be a danger to those groups of women because in a patriarchal society, men are often presumed to have access to that femininity and can abuse or attack them if they are not granted that. So once again, shocker, everybody loses in patriarchy. Surprise, surprise, we all get played. But that said, I can only yap in these videos for about 10 minutes and I can barely fit my points in, so I'm not going to be focusing on that. We're squarely looking at black hyperfemininity and what it means in the American context. So here is where I also point out that Dionne is not a clean girl. This is not her aesthetic. Now, as other people have pointed out, the clean girl aesthetic is not new. It's not trendy. I mean, it was trendy before Mob Wife took over, but we grew up seeing this on our black cousins, on the Latino woman at the salon, and that was their normal everyday outfit. It wasn't something that they were purposely going out on the town in. That aesthetic was actually not considered professional for a long time. It was not considered classy. It was not considered trendy. It was something that was looked down upon. The hoops, the lip colors, the slick back bun, it was not what it is today. But when people like Hailey Bieber wear it, suddenly it becomes acceptable and normal. I did not grow up with women of color or black women. I know going out in clean girl aesthetic because it wasn't considered dressy enough and it wasn't something that they could feel respected in if they went out and about town. Maybe they did, but they just knew it wasn't enough. To be respected, their beauty had to be exceptional. Their clothing had to be out there. They had to be seen. I do think white women as a group can get away with the clean girl aesthetic for going out and being fancy because their whiteness in and of itself is a powerful beauty calling card. Whiteness is already assumed and presumed as beautiful. White women are considered at the top of the racist totem pole in terms of beauty standards. So you could strip everything away and they could get down to a slick bun and like a no makeup look and they're still beautiful. For women of color, that has not worked. That it doesn't work in this society. We are always starting socially or in a racist culture. We start behind the starting line in terms of the beauty race to white European standards. Our blackness is the thing we have to mitigate or flatten in order to be considered good enough or woman enough. If you don't believe me, go back in time and look at the black dolls or the black characters that were supposed to be the pretty ones. They're literally white people dipped in chocolate. It's not enough to be a black woman in a hoodie or a black woman in a nice sweatpants suit. It's actually, in some cases, dangerous because you're presumed as not important and not valuable and not worthy of protection. We find power and protection in adornment. My mom never let us go out of the house in casual clothes and part of that is because of how she was raised. She grew up upper class in the Caribbean, but also she knew that in a city like ours, we were always going to be assumed as not belonging to a certain place or as people who were in the wrong place. So we had to look like we had meant to go out. We couldn't just be in t-shirts and shorts and hoodies. That's dangerous. My brother in a button down is a lot less threatening than my brother in a hoodie. And sorry, we don't make the rules on that. That's the context we were born into. Now, do you guys remember before the coquette trend, how bows and big hair barrettes were like all the rage, just about 4 years ago? The Cut magazine called it self-aggrandizing and infantilizing in a glorious way. Now, institutions that work in educational settings have talked about how there is data that proves and shows that young black girls are over-sexualized and over-disciplined in school contexts. They are sexualized at much younger ages than other demographics, and their similar behavior to other kids is considered worse for some reason. This is not because they are acting out differently or worse, or because they're different. This is because of an American tradition and an American legacy of treating young black girls as things to breed and things to abuse and use to get more economic value out of them. We expect young black girls to be more mature and to shoulder more responsibilities than they should for their age. This is part of the effect of that long-standing story. This is uncomfortable to admit, but a lot of us have this idea that some people are just fated or built for suffering, like the lady who ignored my 2 other cousins. It's painful to contend with the way inequality and injustice hurts people. We can feel guilty for our privilege or feel pain when we try to empathize with people who, for no choice of their own, from no doing of their own, find themselves suffering. It's a lot easier to emotionally deal with that when we can say, okay, look, this is where they went wrong. This is how they brought this upon themselves. But with racism and sexism, there's no choice. You just happen to be born into that social construction. It's even harder to recognize that inequalities are held up by people we know and love doing absolutely nothing about the status quo, or worse, actively upholding it with choices and actions that they make in their day-to-day lives. So we rationalize this by thinking, well, some people are endowed with the strength to suffer. And in a way, when we look at sometimes these stories that we tell about Black people overcoming in America, it's romantic. Look at them struggling. Look at them overcoming. Look at them being hard and tough and the stepping stones to our culture and America's national enlightenment and justice. The hyperfeminine aesthetic is not about being mature or looking older or looking like one can bear anything. No, it has a fresh, young, and dare I say, infantilizing aspect to it. They bring a Black woman's age down in many ways. For example, the scene at the end in the wedding where Dion's braids are covered in these beautiful different pink and purple flowers. It gives her this presumption of innocence and youngness that is often not given to Black women like her. In hyperfeminine aesthetics for Black women, your Blackness isn't something you hide or mitigate or flatten, as I said earlier. It's something you play up. It's something that you frame with beautiful accessories and lots of color and in drawing attention to yourself. And while adhering to stereotypical feminine forms in a traditional sense might seem obvious for womanhood, it's really more obvious for white womanhood than it is for Black womanhood. Because again, like I told you, white womanhood is endowed with femininity from the beginning. Whereas Black womanhood, being seen as feminine, being seen as soft, being seen as tender, there goes my earring. That is a relatively new media concept for us. The joys of vintage earrings. I also want to add the caveat that you can do whatever you want. Like, it is not going to impede the civil rights movement if you are considered white in the society and you like the clean girl aesthetic. I don't care. Like, it's totally fine. You don't need to ask my permission for that either. What I am saying is it is important to realize who in culture gets punished or rewarded for doing the exact same thing. And when we bash Black women for being hyper-feminine and say, oh, they're anti-feminist and they're playing into stereotypical roles, you are forgetting the long history of femininity that has been withheld from those women. And now they have the free choice to choose it. It's also realizing we don't all have the same choices. We are working with a different set of them. And absolutely nothing is done in a vacuum. I'd love to hear about your style choices.
Hey, Jasmine. Do you have a moment to chat really quick? It's serious.
What's going on?
Awesome. We've gotten some feedback around your attitude recently.
My attitude?
Yes, some of us just think you're creating a hostile work environment and it's just really not healthy.
Katie, I have a question for you.
Sure,
Darren,
go ahead.
You can hear him next door. Yeah, he works in sales.
Okay, what about him?
He curses people out all day long. He yells and screams. Last week he broke a chair. Has anyone complained about his attitude?
I'm sorry, Darren's very passionate about what he does, okay? He's the COO here.
Girl,
so he's just really passionate.
It's giving me discrimination.
I'm gonna stop you right there. That's not necessary, okay?
I've seen this. The category is Black excellence. Are these the black women in question up here? Like, is this? Then I seen this corrected post. And I said, somebody gets me. Somebody gets it. This is what getting it looks like. Hello, Black women. I really advocate against the erasure of fully Black, pure Black women. I really do. Monoracial, flat nose, dark skin, brown skin Black women. Kinky, coily coils. There's not a world where Zendaya is my Black representation. There's not a world where Tyler is my Black representation. There is not a world where Doja Cat is my Black representation. There is none. I'm happy that a lot of Black women are beginning to see their erasure and beginning to say, you know what? No. Like, I want to be represented by my people, the ones that look like me, the ones that walk like me, the ones that talk like me, you know? If it walk like a duck, talk like a duck, it's a duck. And if it don't, it's not. Amen. First Black this, first Black that, whole time they not Black. All right. I want fully Black women to be my representation. I want them to be at the forefront for me. I want to proclaim them and thank them. And that's it.